The first thing I remember is the taste of copper in my mouth and the sound of my phone buzzing like an angry wasp against the hospital bed rail. My name is Rosalie, and 3 hours earlier I'd been under general anaesthesia, having my gallbladder removed. Now I was swimming back to consciousness through a fog of morphine and regret, wondering why my phone wouldn't stop screaming at me. 20 missed calls, all from First National Bank. "What the hell?" I croaked, my throat raw from the breathing tube. The numbers on my phone screen blurred together, but I could make out the timestamp on the last call. 11 minutes ago. I hit redial with shaking fingers. "First National, this is Marcus speaking. How can I help you today?" "This is Rosalie Hanson. You've been calling me." "Oh, Ms. Hanson, yes, we've been trying to reach you about some unusual activity on your savings account. We wanted to verify some large transfers that occurred this morning." The morphine fog cleared instantly. "What transfers?" "Well, it shows here that you initiated 3 separate online transfers totaling $72,000. The transactions were completed using your login credentials and security questions, but given the amount, we wanted to confirm." "I've been unconscious for 4 hours. My voice came out flat, deadly calm. "I haven't touched my phone, my computer, or anything else." Silence on the other end. Then, "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to come in as soon as possible. Can you hold while I transfer you to our fraud department?" I didn't hold. I hung up and immediately opened my banking app, fingers trembling as I entered my password. The screen loaded and my stomach dropped through the hospital bed. Account balance, $247.83. 3 months ago, that account had held $72,000. Every penny I'd saved over 5 years of working 60-hour weeks, skipping vacations, buying generic everything, my emergency fund, my safety net, my proof that I could take care of myself when nobody else would. Gone. "Nurse!" I called out, my voice cracking. "Nurse! I need help!" A tired-looking woman in scrubs appeared in my doorway. "What's wrong, honey?" "Someone stole my money while I was in surgery. I need to call the police." She frowned. "Are you sure you're not just confused from the anesthesia? Sometimes patients think—" "I'm not confused." I pulled up the banking app again, showing her the screen. "Look, 3 transfers, all made while I was under. Someone accessed my account." Her expression shifted from patronizing to concerned. "Oh my, let me get the charge, nurse." While she hurried away, I scrolled through the transfer details. The money had been sent to 3 different accounts, 2 I didn't recognize and 1 that made my blood run cold. "Brendan Hanson, my brother." My phone buzzed with a text message. "Hope you're feeling better. Mom and I will stop by later to check on you." From Brendan. I stared at the message, pieces clicking together like a puzzle I'd been trying to solve my whole life. The timing wasn't coincidental. They knew I'd be unconscious. They knew I'd be vulnerable. But what they didn't know was that I'd planned for this exact scenario. 3 weeks ago, I'd sat across from my best friend Michaela at our favourite coffee shop, sliding a manila envelope across the table. "Power of attorney papers," I'd told her. "Just in case." She'd raised an eyebrow. "You really think your family would try something while you're having surgery?" "I think my family has been waiting for an opportunity like this my entire life." Now, lying in that hospital bed with my life savings gone and my brother's fake concern glowing on my phone screen, I knew I'd been right. I scrolled to Michaela's contact and hit call. "How'd the surgery go?" she answered on the first ring. "They took it." "Took what? Your gallbladder?" "The money, Michaela. All of it. While I was under." The line went quiet for a long moment. Then, "Those motherfuckers. Can you come here and bring the papers? I'm already in my car." I hung up and leaned back against the pillows, my surgical incisions throbbing with each heartbeat. But underneath the physical pain was something else, something sharp and cold and focused. My phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't a text. It was an alert from my home's security system. Motion detected. Master bedroom. The timestamp showed 2:47 p.m., 20 minutes ago, while I was still unconscious. I opened the app and watched the live feed of my bedroom. Empty now, but the notification history showed movement in the room for over an hour during my surgery. Someone had been in my house, in my bedroom. Going through my things while I lay helpless on an operating table, I screenshotted everything, the bank transfers, the security alerts, the timeline, evidence, because this wasn't just theft. This was war. 2 hours later, I was propped up in my hospital bed when they walked in like they owned the place. "There's our little warrior!" Mom's voice dripped with fake sweetness as she swept into the room, carrying a wilted bouquet from the hospital gift shop. "How are you feeling, sweetheart?" Brendan followed behind her, hands shoved deep in his pockets, eyes darting everywhere except my face. "Yeah, sis, you look good." I studied them both. Mum's designer purse, new. Brendan's sneakers, also new, still had the tags hanging off the laces. Interesting purchases for people who'd been crying poverty for months. "I'm feeling betrayed, actually." I kept my voice level, conversational. "Someone cleaned out my savings account while I was unconscious." Mum's face shifted into practiced concern. "Oh, honey, that's terrible. Identity theft is so common these days. Did you call the bank?" "I did. They said the transfers were made using my login credentials from someone who knew all my security questions." Brendan shifted uncomfortably. That's really messed up. Who would do something like that?" I pulled out my phone and opened the banking app, turning the screen toward them. "Well, one of the accounts the money went to belongs to someone named Brendan Hansen. Ring any bells?" The silence in the room was deafening. Mom's fake smile faltered for just a second before snapping back into place. "There must be some mistake," she said. "Maybe someone used Brendan's information too. You know how these hackers work." "Mom," I set my phone down on the bedside table. "Cut the shit." Her mask slipped completely. The concerned mother disappeared, replaced by something cold and calculating. "Watch your language, Rosalie." "Or what? You'll steal more of my money?" Brendan finally looked at me, his jaw tight. "You want to know the truth? Fine. We took it. We needed it more than you do." "Brendan," Mom hissed. "No, she wants to play hardball. Let's play." He stepped closer to my bed. "You sit in your fancy apartment, making your fancy salary, saving money like some kind of financial genius while the rest of us are drowning. Mum's behind on rent. I can't make my car payments. But poor little Rosalie needs her precious emergency fund. I worked for that money. So did we." His voice rose. "You think you're the only one with problems? You think you're the only one who deserves security?" Mom placed a hand on his arm. "What Brendan means is that family helps family. We knew you'd understand once you thought about it." "Family helps family?" I laughed, but there was no humour in it. Where was my family when I was working 3 jobs to put myself through college? Where was my family when I was eating ramen for dinner so I could save money for emergencies exactly like this? "You were always the lucky one," Mom said, her voice turning sharp. "Everything came easy to you. Good grades, good job, good life. Some of us had to struggle." "Lucky?" I stared at her. "I made my own luck, every single day." "Don't be dramatic," she snapped. "It's just money. You'll make more." $72,000, Mum. 5 years of savings. Gone. Brendan shrugged. "You want a parade for saving money while we're drowning? You want us to throw you a party because you're responsible. I want you to not steal from me while I'm unconscious on an operating table." "We borrowed it," Mom said firmly. "We'll pay you back when we can." "With what money? You just said you're behind on rent." She stood up, smoothing down her jacket. "I don't like your tone, Rosalie. We came here to check on you, and this is how you treat us." "How I treat you?" My voice was getting louder, but I didn't care. "You violated my home, my privacy, my trust." "Your home," Brendan scoffed. "We used the spare key you gave Mom for emergencies. This was an emergency." An emergency that required going through my bedroom drawers? They both froze. Mum's eyes narrowed. What are you talking about? I picked up my phone and opened the security app, showing them the motion alerts. My cameras caught everything. You, Mum, going through my dresser. You, Brendan, sitting at my computer, time-stamped while I was in surgery. Mum's face went white. Brendan took a step back. You recorded us. I record everyone who enters my house without permission. We had permission, Mum said weakly. You had a key for emergencies, not for theft. Brendan's hands clenched into fists. You're really going to do this? You're going to turn on your own family over money? You already turned on me, I'm just responding appropriately. Mum grabbed her purse, her movements sharp and angry. Fine, be that way, but don't come crying to us when you need something. When have I ever come crying to you for anything? She paused at the door, looking back with eyes full of venom. You know what your problem is, Rosalie. You think you're better than us. You always have. No, I said quietly. I just learned not to trust you. Apparently not soon enough. They left without another word, Mum's heels clicking angrily down the hospital corridor. I waited until their footsteps faded, then picked up my phone and called Michaela. They just left, I said when she answered. How bad? They admitted everything, on camera. Please tell me you recorded that conversation. I smiled for the first time all day. Voice memo app. Every word. I'll be right there. We have work to do. 1 week before surgery, I sat across from Michaela at our usual corner table at Grind Coffee, sliding a manila envelope across the worn wooden surface. Power of attorney papers, I said, keeping my voice low. Notarized this morning. Michaela picked up the envelope, weighing it in her hands. You're really doing this? I'm really doing this. She opened it and scanned the legal documents inside. Full financial and medical power of attorney. Jesus, Rosalie, you're giving me control over everything. Only if I'm incapacitated, and only temporarily. Your family's going to lose their minds when they find out. I stirred my coffee, watching the creams swirl into patterns. They're going to lose their minds anyway. At least this way I'm protected. You really think they'll try something while you're having surgery? I think they've been waiting for an opportunity like this my entire life. Michaela folded the papers back into the envelope. Okay, I'm in. But if this goes sideways, it won't. You're the best attorney I know. I'm the only attorney you know. Details. We both laughed, but there was an edge to it. We both knew what we were preparing for. Now, 3 days post-surgery, Michaela sat in my living room with her laptop open, legal pads scattered across my coffee table, and a look of pure fury on her face. They're not even trying to hide it, she said, pointing at her screen. Look at this. I leaned forward from my spot on the couch, still moving carefully because of my incisions. What am I looking at? Brendan's Facebook, posted yesterday. She turned the laptop toward me. New motorcycle. Caption says, Finally got my dream bike. Sometimes good things come to those who wait. He bought a motorcycle with my money. Gets better. Your mum posted this morning, she scrolled down. New designer handbag. Treating myself because I deserve it. I stared at the screen. Mum was posing with a Louis Vuitton bag that cost more than most people's monthly rent. They're flaunting it. They think you're helpless. They think you'll just roll over and take it. They thought wrong. Michaela pulled out a thick folder. I've been busy. Bank records, security footage, transaction logs. I've got everything we need to bury them. What about the power of attorney? Is it solid? Rock solid? Notarized, witnessed, filed with the county clerk. They can't touch it. She grinned. But here's the beautiful part. They don't know it exists. What do you mean? They think you're vulnerable. They think you're alone. They have no idea you planned for this exact scenario. I picked up one of the bank statements. So what's our next move? Criminal charges first. Theft, fraud, identity theft. then civil court for damages and restitution. She pulled out another document. But I found something else while I was digging. What? One of the accounts they transferred money to, it's not just some random account. It belongs to someone named Dalton Perry. Never heard of him. He's a financial advisor, also happens to be Brendan's best friend from high school. She showed me a LinkedIn profile. He specializes in discreet financial services for clients who need to move money quickly. You think he helped them? I think he orchestrated the whole thing. Look at this. She pulled up another document. The transfer authorizations were filed using professional banking software, not something your average person has access to. So this wasn't just opportunistic theft. This was planned, premeditated. They've probably been plotting this for months. My phone buzzed with a text message. Brendan again. Hey, can we talk? I feel bad about how things went at the hospital. I showed Michaela the message. He wants to talk. Perfect. Set up a meeting. You want me to meet with him? I want you to wear a wire and get him to confess everything on tape. Is that legal? In this state? Absolutely. One-party consent for recordings. She closed her laptop. But first, we're filing charges. Today. Today? Today. I've already prepared everything. Criminal complaint, civil lawsuit, emergency asset freeze. She stacked the papers neatly. By tomorrow morning, they won't be able to access their accounts. Asset freeze. We're freezing every account they transferred money to, including Dalton's. They want to play games with stolen money. Fine. But they're not spending another dime until this is resolved. I felt something shift inside me. A cold, focused energy I'd never experienced before. What do I need to do? Nothing. I handle the legal filing. You handle the family drama. She stood up, gathering her papers. But Rosalie... Yeah? When this is over, they're going to hate you. Like, really hate you. Are you prepared for that? I thought about Mum's fake smile in the hospital room. Brendan's entitled sneer, the way they'd violated my home while I lay unconscious and helpless. They already hate me, I said. They just hid it better before. Good, because we're not just pressing charges. What do you mean? Michaela smiled, and it was sharp enough to cut glass. We're going public. Local news, social media, everything. By the time we're done, everyone in this town will know exactly what kind of people Jennifer and Brendan really are. You think that's necessary? I think they counted on you being too ashamed to fight back. They counted on family loyalty keeping you quiet. She headed toward the door. Time to show them how wrong they were. After she left, I sat alone in my living room, staring at the security camera footage on my phone. Mom rifling through my dresser drawers, Brendan typing on my computer. I deleted nothing. Saved everything. Let the games begin. I was 16, standing in our cramped kitchen, holding my acceptance letter to State University, when Mom delivered the news that would shape the rest of my life. We can't help you with college, she said, not looking up from the bills scattered across the kitchen table. Brendan needs a car for his senior year, and the insurance alone is going to kill us. But I got a partial scholarship. I only need help with... Rosalie. She finally looked at me, her expression flat. You're smart. You'll figure it out. You always do. Brendan walked into the kitchen, grabbing a soda from the fridge. What's all the drama about? Your sister thinks we should pay for her college. Didn't she get some scholarship thing? He popped open the can. She doesn't need us. She only needs herself anyway. Mom nodded like he'd said something profound. Exactly. Brendan needs our help. You've got everything handled. I stared at them both, the acceptance letter crumpling in my grip. So I work 3 jobs to pay for school while you buy him a car. Life's not fair, sweetheart, Mom said, turning back to her bills. The sooner you learn that, the better. That night I applied for every loan, grant and work-study program I could find. I worked at a diner until 2 a.m., cleaned office buildings before dawn, and tutored kids on weekends. While Brendan cruised around in his new Honda Civic, I rode the bus to campus and ate ramen for dinner. But I graduated, debt-free, without their help. The memory faded as my phone buzzed with a Facebook message notification. I almost ignored it. Social media had been a minefield since the hospital confrontation. But the sender's name made me pause. Lily Allen. My cousin. We hadn't spoken in years. Hey, Rosalie, I know this is random, but I heard about what happened. Can you call me? It's urgent. There's stuff you need to know. I stared at the message. Lily was Mom's sister's daughter, but she'd always been the family outcast. Too honest, too direct, too willing to call out the adults' bullshit. We'd been close as kids until the family politics drove us apart. I hit the call button. Rosalie? Lily's voice was tense. Thank God you called. What's going on, Lily? I was at your mum's house yesterday. She was bragging about some windfall she'd come into. Said you'd finally learned to share with family. My grip tightened on the phone. She said what? She was showing off this expensive purse, talking about how you'd come around and realised family comes first. But Rosalie, the way she said it didn't sound right. What do you mean? She kept saying things like perfect timing and she never saw it coming. And then Brendan showed up on this brand new motorcycle and they were both laughing about something. Laughing about what? Lily's voice dropped to a whisper. I heard your mom say, she'll be under anaesthesia. It's the perfect time. She won't even know until it's too late. The room spun around me. You heard her say that? Word for word. Rosalie, they planned this. They knew exactly when your surgery was scheduled, and they planned to rob you while you were unconscious. Why are you telling me this? Because it's wrong. Because I'm tired of watching this family destroy people. Her voice cracked. Because you deserve better than what they did to you growing up, and you sure as hell deserve better than this. I closed my eyes, processing what she'd just told me. Lily, would you be willing to testify to what you heard? You're pressing charges. I'm pressing charges. Good. Yes, I'll testify. I'll do whatever you need. She paused. There's something else. What? Your mum has been talking about this for weeks. She said you'd been hoarding money while family was struggling. She said it was time you learned to share. Weeks? She's been planning this since you scheduled the surgery. She even asked me if I knew your banking passwords. What did you tell her? I told her to go to hell. Lily's voice hardened. I told her if she was that desperate she should get a job instead of stealing from her own daughter. How did she react to that? She said I didn't understand family loyalty, that you owed them for all the advantages you'd had growing up. I laughed bitterly. Advantages? Like working 3 jobs to pay for college while they bought Brendan a car. She's rewritten history, Rosalie. In her version, you were the golden child who got everything handed to her. Brendan was the victim who never got a fair chance. That's insane. That's your mother. My phone beeped with another call coming in. Michaela. Lily, I have to take this call, but can we talk more later? Anytime. And Rosalie, I'm proud of you for fighting back. It's about time someone in this family stood up to her. I switched to Michaela's call. Please tell me you have good news. I have great news. The criminal complaint has been filed. Fraud charges for all 3 of them, Jennifer, Brendan and Dalton. All 3? Dalton tried to cover his tracks, but he left a digital trail. Bank records show he processed the transfers using his professional credentials. That makes it conspiracy to commit fraud. When do they find out? They're being served papers tomorrow morning, all 3 of them simultaneously. And the asset freeze? Already in effect. Every account they touched is locked down tight. I felt a surge of satisfaction. What happens next? Next, we watch them panic. And Rosalie? Yeah? I hope you're ready for this to get ugly, because once they realise what's happening, they're going to come at you with everything they've got. I thought about 16-year-old me, standing in that kitchen, learning that family meant nothing when it came to actually helping each other. "Let them come," I said. "I've been ready for this my whole life." The next morning I was sipping coffee on my couch when my phone exploded with notifications. 17 missed calls from Mum, 23 text messages from Brendan, all variations of "call me now" and "what the fuck did you do?" I ignored them all and opened my laptop instead. Time to send my own message. I crafted an email to Mom, keeping it short and sweet. "Jennifer, thank you for reminding me what family truly means. The criminal charges and civil lawsuit should arrive via process server this morning. I hope the purse was worth it. Rosalie P.S." The cameras caught everything. Send. My phone rang immediately. Mum's contact photo, a picture from last Christmas where she was fake smiling while opening gifts she'd complained weren't expensive enough. I let it go to voicemail. Then I called Michaela. "Papers served yet? As of 20 minutes ago, all 3 of them." I could hear the satisfaction in her voice. "Your mum tried to slam the door on the process server. Didn't work." "And Brendan?" "Served at his apartment, apparently threw the papers on the ground and started screaming about family loyalty." "What about Dalton?" "Served at his office, in front of clients." She chuckled. "His secretary called our office asking if there was some mistake. Told her there wasn't." My phone buzzed with another text from Brendan. "We need to talk privately. This is getting out of hand." I showed Michaela the message over FaceTime. "He wants to meet." "Perfect. You still have that recording app?" "Already downloaded." "Good. Set up lunch somewhere public. Get him talking." 2 hours later, I sat across from Brendan at Denny's, my phone hidden in my purse with the voice recorder running. He looked like hell, unshaven, bloodshot eyes, hands shaking as he stirred his coffee. "You look terrible," I said. "Thanks. Real supportive." He glared at me. "Do you have any idea what you've done? I've pressed charges against people who stole from me. Pretty straightforward." "We're family, Rosalie. Family doesn't press charges against family. Family doesn't steal from family either, but here we are." He leaned forward, lowering his voice. "Look, maybe we handled this wrong. Maybe we should have asked first." "Maybe?" "Okay, we should have asked, but you would have said no. So you decided to just take it while I was unconscious on an operating table. It wasn't supposed to be like that. We were going to put it back before you noticed." I blinked at him. "Put back $72,000. With what money? We had a plan." "What plan, Brendan? You're unemployed. Mum's behind on rent. Where exactly was this magical replacement money going to come from?" He shifted uncomfortably. "Dalton said he could help us flip it, make some quick investments, double the money, put yours back plus extra." "So you were going to gamble with my life savings?" "It wasn't gambling. Dalton knows what he's doing." "Dalton's about to lose his financial advisor license." Brendan's face went white. "What?" "Fraud charges tend to do that to people in the financial industry." "You're destroying his career over this." "He destroyed his own career when he helped you steal from me." "We didn't steal anything." His voice rose, drawing stares from other diners. "We borrowed it. There's a difference. Without permission, while I was unconscious, using my login credentials that you got by going through my personal belongings." I kept my voice calm, conversational. "That's called theft, Brendan. We use the spare key Mom had for emergencies. Going through my dresser drawers to find my banking information isn't an emergency. How else were we supposed to get the money? You weren't supposed to get it at all. It's not your money." He slammed his hand on the table. "You sit in your fancy apartment, making your fancy salary, hoarding money like some kind of dragon while your own family is drowning. What kind of person does that? The kind of person who learned not to depend on family for help. We raised you. We took care of you. You took care of me." I laughed. "When?" "When you got the car I needed for college. When you got the financial support I begged for. When exactly did you take care of me? That's different. You were always the smart one. You didn't need help." "I needed help. I just didn't get it. So now you're punishing us for not being perfect parents. I'm punishing you for stealing $72,000 from me while I was having surgery." He stared at me for a long moment. "You know what your problem is? You think you're better than us. I think I'm different than you. There's a distinction." "Same thing." "No, it's not. Better implies judgment. Different is just fact." His phone buzzed. He glanced at it and his face went even paler. "My accounts are frozen." "I know. You can't do that. I didn't do it. The court did it, pending investigation of fraud charges. Rosalie, please, I need that money. I have bills, rent, car payments. You should have thought about that before you stole from me. I'll pay you back, every penny, with interest." "With what money? Your accounts are frozen, remember?" He was quiet for a moment, staring into his coffee. Then, "What do you want?" "I want my money back. I want you to face consequences for what you did. And I want you to admit that this was planned." "It wasn't planned. Brendan, I have security footage of you and Mom in my house during my surgery. I have bank records showing the transfers. I have witnesses who heard Mom talking about the perfect timing of my anesthesia." His shoulders sagged. "Fine. Yes, we planned it. We knew you'd be out for hours. We figured we'd have time to move the money and figure out how to replace it later. And you accessed my banking information from my bedroom computer. Your passwords were saved in the browser. It was easy. So you admit you went through my personal belongings to steal my banking credentials?" "I admit we made a mistake. You admit you committed fraud." He looked up at me, and for the first time I saw real fear in his eyes. "What happens now?" "Now you face the consequences of your choices." I left him sitting there, staring into his coffee cup like it might hold answers to questions he was finally starting to understand. In my car, I stopped the recording and immediately sent it to Michaela. Her response was immediate. "Holy shit! He just confessed to everything. We've got them." 3 days later, Mum's voicemail made my blood run cold. "You ungrateful little bitch. After everything I did for you, this is how you repay me. You think you're so smart with your lawyers and your charges, but you have no idea what you've started. Family is forever, Rosalie. This isn't over." I played it for Michaela over speakerphone. She was quiet for a long moment. "Save that," she said finally. "Threatening language from a defendant can work in our favour." She sounds unhinged. She sounds desperate. Good. My phone buzzed with a Twitter notification. Someone had tagged me in a post. I opened the app and my stomach dropped. Jai Rosalie's Marketing's own mother and brother are being charged with theft after stealing her life savings while she was in surgery. Family betrayal, stealing from your own daughter. The tweet had been shared 47 times in 2 hours. "Michaela, someone leaked the story." "What story?" I read her the tweet. "It's going viral. People are retweeting it with their own family horror stories." "Any idea who posted it?" "The account is anonymous, but..." I scrolled through the replies. "Oh my God, people are dragging them." "Listen to this. Imagine being such a garbage human that you rob your own daughter while she's unconscious. These people deserve everything coming to them." Public opinion can be powerful in cases like this. There's more. Someone found Mom's Facebook and screenshot her posts about the new purse. They're calling her out in the comments. My phone rang. "Brendan." "Don't answer," Michaela said. "Let him leave a voicemail." I let it ring through. The voicemail notification popped up immediately. "Rosalie, what the hell is this Twitter thing? People are calling me at work, messaging me online. You need to make this stop. This is harassment." I played it for Michaela. "He's panicking." Good. Panic makes people make mistakes. The next morning I woke up to 17 missed calls and a text from an unknown number. "This is Sarah, Dalton's wife. We need to talk. It's about your case." I called Michaela first. "Dalton's wife wants to meet." "Interesting. She might be willing to flip on him." Should I meet with her? Absolutely, but I'm coming with you. 2 hours later, we sat across from Sarah Perry at a Starbucks downtown. She was younger than I'd expected, maybe 30, with tired eyes and nervous hands that wouldn't stop fidgeting with her wedding ring. I don't know how to start this, she said. Start with what you know, Michaela said gently. Dalton's been acting weird for weeks. Secretive phone calls, working late, hiding his computer screen when I walked by. She took a shaky breath. Then yesterday these legal papers showed up. What did he tell you about the charges? He said it was a misunderstanding, that he was just helping a friend with some financial paperwork. She looked up at me. But I found something. What did you find? Sarah pulled out her phone and showed us a screenshot. Text messages between him and your brother from 3 weeks ago. I read the messages aloud. Brendan, surgery is scheduled for Thursday. She'll be out for hours. Dalton. Perfect. I can process the transfers remotely. She'll never know what hit her. Michaela leaned forward. Sarah, are you willing to provide these messages as evidence? I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get my husband to stop lying to me. Her voice cracked. We have 2 kids. I can't have them growing up thinking this kind of behavior is normal. What else do you know? Dalton's been bragging about some big score he pulled off. Said he was finally going to be able to afford the boat he's been wanting. She wiped her eyes. I thought he meant a work bonus. I didn't know he meant stolen money. My phone buzzed with another call from Mom. I declined it and immediately got a text. The whole town is talking about this. You're embarrassing the family. Stop this nonsense and we can work something out. I showed Sarah the message. This is what I'm dealing with. My God, she whispered. She's still trying to manipulate you even after getting caught. It's what she does. Michaela's phone rang. She stepped away to take the call, returning a few minutes later with a grim expression. That was the prosecutor's office. They want to add additional charges. What kind of additional charges? Identity theft. They found evidence that your mother opened a credit card in your name 2 years ago. The room spun. What? A Visa card with a $5,000 limit. She's been making minimum payments, but the balance is maxed out. Sarah gasped. She's been stealing from you for years. How did they find this? Forensic accounting. They're going through everything now. Michaela sat back down. Rosalie, this changes everything. We're not talking about a one-time theft anymore. This is a pattern of financial abuse. What does that mean for the case? It means they're looking at serious jail time, especially your mother. My phone rang again. This time it was a number I didn't recognize. Rosalie, this is Detective Martinez with the Financial Crimes Unit. We need to schedule an interview. There's been a development in your case. What kind of development? We've uncovered additional victims. Your mother and brother have been running similar schemes on other family members for years. I looked at Michaela, then at Sarah, who was staring at me with wide eyes. Other victims? Your cousin Lily wasn't the only one who refused to give them banking information. They've been targeting elderly relatives, disabled family members, anyone they thought was vulnerable. How many others? At least 6 that we've identified so far. We're talking about a systematic pattern of elder abuse and financial exploitation. I hung up and sat in stunned silence. Rosalie! Sarah's voice seemed to come from far away. Are you okay? They've been doing this to other people for years. Michaela reached across the table and squeezed my hand. This isn't just about your money anymore. This is about stopping them from hurting anyone else. The local paper wants to interview you, she continued. Front page story. Local family accused of systematic financial abuse. I thought about all the family members who'd gone quiet over the years. Relatives who'd stopped coming to gatherings, who'd made excuses about money troubles. Set up the interview, I said. It's time everyone knew the truth. The courthouse was packed. I walked through the metal detectors wearing the navy Ralph Lauren suit I'd bought myself for my promotion last year, the one Mom had said I'd never be able to afford on my salary. You ready for this? Michaela asked, adjusting her briefcase strap. I've been ready for 32 years. The courtroom buzzed with whispered conversations. I spotted Sarah in the third row, clutching a folder of evidence. Lily sat behind her, giving me an encouraging nod. In the back, I recognized faces from the newspaper article, other family members who'd finally found the courage to speak up. Mom and Brendan sat at the defendant's table with their court-appointed attorney, a tired-looking man who kept shuffling papers like he was already planning his next case. Dalton sat separately with his own lawyer, both of them looking like they'd rather be anywhere else. Mom turned to glare at me as I walked to the front. She was wearing the same outfit she'd worn to my college graduation, the one time she'd actually shown up to support me. The irony wasn't lost on me. All rise for the Honourable Judge Patricia Williams. Judge Williams was a no-nonsense woman in her 60s with silver hair and sharp eyes that seemed to see right through people's bullshit. Perfect. Be seated. We're here today for the matter of the state versus Jennifer Hansen, Brendan Hansen, and Dalton Perry. Multiple charges including theft, fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy. The prosecutor, a sharp-dressed woman named Rebecca Santos, stood up. Your Honour, this case represents a systematic pattern of financial abuse spanning several years and multiple victims. The defendants targeted vulnerable family members, including the primary victim, while she was unconscious during medical surgery. Mum's lawyer stood. Your Honour, my clients maintain that this was a family financial matter that got out of hand. No malicious intent. Objection, Michaela interrupted, rising from her seat in the gallery. The evidence clearly shows premeditation and conspiracy. Miss Stevenson, you're not representing the state in this matter, Judge Williams said. No, Your Honour, but I am representing the primary victim in the civil case, and I have evidence that directly contradicts defence counsel's characterisation. I'll allow it. Present your evidence. Michaela approached the bench with a tablet. Your Honour, I'd like to play security footage from the victim's home, recorded during the time of the theft. The courtroom fell silent as the large screen displayed the footage. There was Mom, clear as day, rifling through my dresser drawers. Then Brendan, sitting at my computer, typing deliberately. The timestamp shows this occurred during the victim's surgery, Michaela continued. This was not a spontaneous family financial matter. This was calculated theft. Mum's face had gone pale. Brendan was staring at his hands. Additionally, Your Honour, we have recorded conversations where the defendants admit to planning the theft to coincide with the victim's anaesthesia. She played the audio from my lunch with Brendan. His voice filled the courtroom. We knew you'd be out for hours. We figured we'd have time to move the money and figure out how to replace it later. Judge Williams leaned forward. Mr. Hansen, is that your voice on the recording? Brendan's lawyer whispered something to him. Yes, Your Honour. And you admit to planning this theft while your sister was undergoing surgery. It wasn't theft. It was what, Mr. Hansen? Brendan looked at his mother, then back at the judge. It was a mistake. A planned mistake? Yes, Your Honour. The prosecutor stood again. Your Honour, we also have evidence of additional crimes. The defendant, Jennifer Hansen, opened credit cards in her daughter's name without permission, accumulating over $8,000 in fraudulent debt. She presented the credit card statements. Furthermore, our investigation has uncovered at least 6 other family members who were victimised by similar schemes over the past 5 years. Your Honour, Mum's lawyer said desperately, my client is a single mother who was struggling financially. Your client is a 57-year-old woman who systematically defrauded her own family members. Judge Williams cut him off, including elderly relatives and disabled individuals. The prosecutor called Sarah to the stand. She testified about Dalton's text messages and his bragging about the big score. Then Lily took the stand, describing the conversation she'd overheard about the perfect timing of my surgery. Finally, they called me. Miss Hansen, can you describe your relationship with the defendants prior to this incident? They're my mother and brother. We had a complicated relationship, but I never imagined they would do something like this. What impact has this had on your life? Beyond the financial loss, it's destroyed any trust I had in family. I saved that money over 5 years, working extra hours, sacrificing vacations, eating ramen for dinner. It was my safety net. They took that while I was unconscious and helpless. Do you have anything else you'd like to say? I looked directly at Mom and Brendan. I spent my whole life trying to earn their approval, trying to be the daughter and sister they wanted. I worked 3 jobs to put myself through college because they wouldn't help. I saved every penny because I learned I could only depend on myself. And when I was at my most vulnerable, they proved I was right not to trust them. Mum was crying now, but they looked like tears of self-pity, not remorse. The defence tried to paint them as desperate people who made a bad decision, but the evidence was overwhelming. The planning, the multiple victims, the complete lack of remorse. Judge Williams didn't deliberate long. The defendants are guilty on all charges. Jennifer Hansen, you are sentenced to 18 months in county jail and ordered to pay full restitution of $80,000, including damages and interest. Brendan Hansen, 12 months in county jail and joint responsibility for restitution. Dalton Perry, you are hereby stripped of your financial advisor license and sentenced to 6 months in county jail. The gavel came down with a satisfying crack. As they led Mom and Brendan away in handcuffs, Mom turned back to me one last time. I hope you're happy, she spat. You destroyed your own family. No, I said quietly. You did that yourself. Outside the courthouse, a sheriff's deputy approached me with an envelope. Ms. Hansen, these are the asset seizure orders. We'll be collecting the motorcycle and the vehicle tomorrow. I took the envelope, feeling the weight of justice in my hands. Thank you, Officer Dixon. Mom, for what it's worth, you did the right thing. I watched him walk away, then looked up at the courthouse steps where Michaela was waiting with a bottle of champagne. Ready to celebrate? Almost, I said, pulling out my phone to delete the security app. Now I'm ready. The flatbed truck pulled into my driveway at exactly 3 p.m., just like Officer Dixon had promised. I sat on my front porch with a glass of Sauvignon Blanc, watching them load Mom's leased BMW onto the back. That's the last of it, Mom, the driver called out. The motorcycle's already been impounded. Thank you. Brendan's Harley had been the first thing they'd seized. Turned out he'd bought it with a loan using my stolen money as collateral. The bank was more than happy to repossess it once they learned the down payment was fraudulent. My phone buzzed with a text from Michaela. Restitution check cleared. $87,000 total with damages and interest. You're officially made whole, I typed back. Plus, I got to keep the wine they bought with my money. Lowell, how are you feeling? I looked at the empty driveway where Mum's car had been parked during her visit to the hospital. Where she'd sat in my living room, fake crying about family loyalty while wearing a purse bought with my money. Free, I typed back. The front door of the house across the street opened, and Mrs. Patterson came out to water her flowers. She'd been watching the whole repo process with obvious curiosity. Everything all right over there, dear? She called out. Everything's perfect, I called back. My phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Rosalie, this is Tom from Channel 7 News. We'd like to do a follow-up story on your case. The original article has been shared over 50,000 times. What kind of follow-up? How you're doing now, what you want other people to know about financial abuse within families. We've had dozens of people reach out saying your story inspired them to report similar situations. I thought about Sarah, who'd filed for divorce and was seeking custody of her kids. About the 6 other family members who'd finally gotten justice for their own stolen money. About Lily, who'd called yesterday to thank me for finally standing up to the family bullies. I'll do the interview, I said, but I want to talk about more than just my case. What do you mean? I want to talk about the other victims. The people who thought they had to stay quiet because family is family. I want them to know they don't have to accept abuse just because it comes from relatives. That sounds perfect. Can we schedule something for tomorrow? After I hung up, I walked inside and poured myself another glass of wine. The house felt different now, lighter somehow, like a weight I'd been carrying for 32 years had finally been lifted. My laptop chimed with an email notification. The sender made me smile. Lily. Rosalie, found something while cleaning out Grandpa's old papers. Thought you should have this. Love, Lily. The attachment was a scan of an old envelope with my name written in Grandpa's shaky handwriting. Inside was a check for $1,000 and a note, for Rosalie's college fund. Make sure Jennifer gives this to her. The check was dated 15 years ago, right around the time I was working 3 jobs to pay for school. I called Lily immediately. You found this in Grandpa's papers? Hidden in his desk drawer, there were other envelopes too. Money he'd left for different grandchildren over the years. I don't think any of us ever got what he intended. She kept it all? Looks like it. There's about $8,000 in checks that were never distributed. I stared at the check in my hand. $1,000 that could have meant the difference between ramen dinners and actual meals. Between working 3 jobs and working 2. Lily, are you going to tell the others? Already started calling. Everyone deserves to know what they were supposed to receive. What about the prosecutor? This could be additional evidence of financial fraud. Way ahead of you. I'm meeting with Detective Martinez tomorrow. After we hung up, I walked out to my backyard and sat in the swing I'd bought myself last spring. The one Mom had said was too expensive for someone who lives alone. My phone buzzed with a voicemail from the county jail. Mum's voice, smaller now, defeated. Rosalie, it's me. I know you probably won't want to hear from me, but I wanted to say I'm sorry. Not because I got caught, but because I hurt you. I've had a lot of time to think in here, and I realize I've been hurting you your whole life. I don't expect forgiveness, but I needed you to know that I finally understand what I did wrong. I deleted the voicemail without finishing it. Some apologies come too late. Some bridges once burned can't be rebuilt. But sitting there in my backyard, holding Grandpa's check and watching the sun set over the life I'd built, entirely on my own terms, I realized I didn't need their apologies anymore. I had something better. I had justice. I had peace. And I had the knowledge that I'd never again have to wonder if the people who claimed to love me were plotting to betray me. My phone chimed with one final text of the day. From Michaela. Dinner tomorrow to celebrate. My treat. Actually, I typed back, let me buy. I can afford it now. I finished my wine, went inside, and locked the door behind me. For the first time in my life, I felt truly safe in my own home,